In this video, we're going to show you how to install the power steering pump on your Toyota Tundra located on the passenger side of the engine. So on the top of our air box here on the passenger side, I want to disconnect the sensor connector, push in on this little tab, pull this harness off, and then we're going to separate that. You can use a Phillips head screwdriver, or you can use a 10mm socket here to loosen up this hose clamp. Now on the air box itself, we want to go ahead and release the retaining clips and pull this cover off. On the air intake base, there's going to be three 10mm bolts, one here, and then one over here, right between the back of the headlight and the box itself. So we took our ratchet and we have a 14mm socket on the center of our belt tensioner pulley. It's just to the right of the power steering pump pulley. I want to push that down. I'll go ahead and pop our belt off. On the top right here, we have to remove this 17mm bolt, but we have these hoses coming over to it, so I want to undo the clips. Just pop the hoses out of these here. Now when we remove the bolt, there's going to be a washer underneath the bolt head, and then there's going to be one on the bottom side of this hose flange. It's ideal if you can replace these when you're doing this job. Now you might lose a little bit of power steering fluid when you're doing this job, so make sure you have a catch can or a bucket underneath. There is one of the washers here. Here's the bolt and the other washer. Set those aside. Pull this off to the side and just tuck that off somewhere. I want to go ahead and remove this hose here from the pump itself. Now in order to remove the power steering pump, there's going to be 3 bolts. There's there's a nut right here. On the top side, there's a stud that runs across into the block. There's another bolt over roughly about 2 or 3 o'clock, and there's another one down below. We're going to access all of these here through the face of the pulley. You're going to rotate the pulley till you have a hole, and then feed your extension and socket right through into the inside, and then we'll rotate that pulley until we can get all 3 of these loose. We're using a 14mm socket and short extension to go ahead and gain access to these. We need to swap over this port right here. This is a 12 millimeter. Work that out. Now there's a rubber O-ring here. You want to go ahead and carefully inspect this O-ring. Now if your pump itself had some moisture around here, now's the time to go ahead and replace it. Our seal is still good. I can feel the seal protrude beyond the metal flange itself. So what we're going to do is take a little bit of this power steering fluid right here, put it on the O-ring, simply swap it over to the new pump. Good, line that up, press that into place, put your bolt in, and tighten it down. Now the main thing here, just want to make that good, just hand tight, because the O-ring itself is doing the sealing job. We don't have an actual full gasket around the flange. Go ahead and take your pump, lower that down into position. Slide that over that stud. Now we're going to install the other bolts here. I'm just going to position that pulley so you can get that bolt through. Ideally, it's good to go ahead and get those bolts started a few threads before you put any power tools on them. I'm going to go ahead and install that nut now. It really doesn't matter in what direction or how you put these in. Just get them all in, get everything started, and then we'll snug them down. So go ahead and install our hose. Install the bolt. Make sure that you have a washer on the top side, preferably a new one, but if the old one is in good condition, use that one. And take your secondary washer, put it on the bottom of that bolt. Now there's a tab over here that needs to go to the left, right behind. There's a tab here for the stud. So we want to go ahead and clock that properly. Line this up. Get that bolt started. Go ahead and snug down our bolt here. Now I want to go ahead and torque this down to 34 foot-pounds. That'll help seat those washers. And then we can install the two vacuum hoses here. We want to torque down all three of our mounting components here for the pump to 33 foot-pounds. So 33 for the nut and 33 for the two bolts. Install our belt. And before we remove our tool, we're going to go ahead and inspect all of our pulleys all the way around the front of the motor, and make sure that our belt is installed on everything properly. Go ahead and install the lower portion of your airbox. I'm going to get all three of these bolts started. Get them started by hand, and then we'll go ahead and snug those down. Now we're just going to snug those down once they bottom out. they're good. Go ahead and drop in the air filter. Go ahead and line this up, install the hose. Line up that lid with the clamps and the bottom, and go ahead and snap your clips over. Grab your mass airflow sensor harness, connect that, and press the harness into the retainers. Then we can use our Phillips head screwdriver. Go ahead and tighten down our hose clamp. You just want to make that snug. Air box is secured. Go ahead and open up the reservoir cap. Using the appropriate fluid for this model vehicle, I want to go ahead and add this fluid to the reservoir. Now the hole is really small on the top unless you have a very small funnel. And our setup is cold, so what we're going to do is on the side of the reservoir here, there is a cold mark, high and low, and then just to the left of it, that's a hot, high and low. So after you've driven the vehicle, you want to check that fluid level at that point. It should be in the hot area. We're going to fill this to the cold on the high side. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in and cycle the steering wheel left and right, and that will start to purge out any of the air bubbles in the system if we have any in there. And then we're just going to come back and check this here and fill it up accordingly. Once you're all set with this, you want to go ahead and take the vehicle for road test, come back and recheck it, and top off as needed.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.